Your badge doesn't work anymore." That's what the security guard said while I stood in the lobby with a 180-page proposal in my arms and my heels still wet from running through the morning rain. I blinked at him, water sliding off my blazer sleeves. "I'm not fired." He shrugged like it was above his pay grade, which, to be fair, everything was. Upstairs, the executive team was already clinking glasses over a quarterly report I built. Downstairs, I was being locked out of my own war room. The kicker? The badge scanner didn't just beep red, it said access revoked intern level. That's when I knew something was off, deeply, maliciously off. And no, this wasn't just about a badge. That badge was linked to everything: the cloud drives, the printer permissions, even the meeting invites I wasn't getting anymore. It was a silent exile, polite on paper, brutal in execution. But let me rewind. 3 weeks earlier, I'd made the mistake of outshining my manager in a cross-departmental pitch to the Department of Energy. I wasn't supposed to speak, but when the client asked about environmental cost modeling, he panicked. I stepped in, nailed it. The client smiled. My manager didn't. By the time we got back to the office, the whispers had started. "Emily's getting ambitious. She's not very team-oriented." HR even called me in for a tone alignment session. Tone alignment? What am I, a wind chime? I played dumb, but I started documenting everything. Every overlooked email, every Zoom call I got mysteriously dropped from, every credit for my work that got redirected to someone named Jason who once confused carbon credits with airline miles. Then came the final insult. An internal memo accidentally forwarded to me, in which the HR director, Melissa, wrote, "Emily has deep technical skills, but lacks executive presence. She's not management track material." Executive presence, that elusive corporate perfume only men named Chad seem to wear naturally. I didn't cry, I didn't rage, I got quiet. Because what Melissa didn't know was that I had already secured a soft commitment from one of the highest-funded federal sustainability programs, an $80 million opportunity with a ticking deadline. And I was doing it alone. No team, no manager, no exec sponsor. Just me, my insomnia, and a Google sheet with color-coded tabs so detailed it looked like an FBI sting op. They locked me out? Fine, I had backups. I had the proposal saved offline. I had screenshots of every milestone, every timestamp, every signature they didn't even know I had secured. But most importantly, I had the rage of a woman they tried to delete and underestimated. Let them toast their bonuses early. I was about to staple something better than a pink slip to their champagne-stained hands. I didn't go home that night. I went to the 24-hour copy shop 2 blocks down from the office. You know, the kind, flickering lights. A guy named Kenny behind the counter who looks like he sells vape pens and conspiracy theories out of his cargo pants. Kenny didn't ask questions. He just nodded when I slid the flash drive across the counter and said, "Print it. All of it, double-sided, color tabs." While the printer coughed out $80 million worth of strategy, I microwaved black coffee and reread the proposal line by line like it was scripture. Because I knew the stakes. If this went through, it would not only change our firm's standing with the Department of Energy, it would also unlock government-linked sustainability accounts we'd been trying to breach for 7 years. Same accounts the board called pipe dreams while they bought another espresso machine for the C-suite. I had one shot. And I knew, deep in my bones, they'd try to steal it, because I'd already caught them trying. 2 days before the badge lockout, I found my work in the wrong hands, literally. I walked into the second-floor conference room and saw Brad from Strategic Ops, newly promoted, still clueless, presenting my charts to the senior partners. My slides, my code, even the custom visualizations I coded in Python while binge-watching Frasier. He didn't even change the font. I stood in the back of the room and watched them nod, impressed. Brad gestured to the screen and said, "My team's been working nights to get this ready." His team? He thinks Google Translate and Chat GPT count as staff. I didn't interrupt. I let him finish. Then I walked straight to IT and requested access logs. Took some convincing, but I flashed enough credentials to rattle the junior guy behind the desk. 20 minutes later, I had everything. Brad had accessed my cloud drive at 2:37 a.m. the night before. My folder, my models, even the old drafts with my notes. That's when the shape of their plans snapped into view. They were going to push me out just long enough to submit the proposal without me, secure the win, take the credit, tell the board I was a difficult personality who wasn't a culture fit. They were going to erase me from my own success. But I didn't panic. I adapted. I repackaged the entire proposal, changed the submission path, rerouted the client contact through a private consultant I trusted from grad school. I embedded traceable edits and watermarked every PDF. If they tried to steal it again, I'd have legal proof, not just of plagiarism, but of intentional misrepresentation in a federal bid. That's felony territory. They wanted to bury me. I was already digging their grave with a titanium shovel, and I was just getting started. The next morning, I walked into the office like I wasn't radioactive, like my badge hadn't been downgraded to intern level, like Brad hadn't tried to stage a corporate identity theft with the confidence of a toddler in a PowerPoint suit. I wore red, not just any red, litigation red, the kind that dares HR to blink first, the kind that screams, "Yes, I will smile in your meeting while planning your professional autopsy." I brought the proposal in a matte black binder, tucked neatly under my arm, like a bomb disguised as an executive portfolio. By noon, I knew the trap had been fully set. I got the calendar invite from Melissa in HR. Quick sync to align on your future here. Smiling face with smiling eyes future, huh? She still thought I was playing chess while they played checkers. Sweetie, I built the damn board. I clicked accept. While I waited for the meeting, I watched Brad strut around the open floor like a Dollar Tree wolf of Wall Street, fake laughing with finance guys and offering unsolicited advice to interns about career pivots. His Bluetooth headset wasn't even connected. It was all for show. The only thing Brad ever pivoted was blame. I checked the news alerts. Nothing yet, which meant the agency hadn't released the bid award publicly, which meant I still had time. 2:00 p.m. sharp. I walked into HR with my binder, a USB drive, and a comm so rehearsed it could pass for boredom. Melissa smiled the kind of smile usually reserved for tax audits and divorce papers. "Emily," she purred, "thanks for coming in. I wanted to chat about your role, your future, some recent concerns about project collaboration." Ah, there it was, the soft pre-firing. "You've been working very independently," she went on, "and it's come up that your colleagues feel excluded, that perhaps you're not modeling the kind of collaborative behavior we value in leadership." Translation: you worked too hard without letting Brad plagiarize fast enough. I opened the binder, didn't say a word, just placed it on the table between us and slid it forward like it was laminated proof of a war crime. She hesitated. Then she opened it. Her pupils actually dilated. I watched the blood leave her face like a reverse baptism. Inside was the final, full, annotated version of the federal proposal, dates, deliverables, approvals, and 3 letters of recommendation from state officials. All signed, all time-stamped, and stapled to the back, my resignation letter. Melissa's voice cracked first. "You wait, you submitted this." I slid the USB across the table, digital version with audit trail. "You'll want to forward it to legal before you make another mistake." She stared at me like I'd just confessed to arson. "But if we win this, your resignation, your name, how will we?" "You won't." I stood up, fixed the cuff of my blazer. "By the way," I added, pausing at the door, "you might want to check the agency's site. The awards go live at 3. You'll see my name listed as the sole project lead." I left her there, staring at a binder that had just turned her entire bonus into a smoking crater. But I wasn't done, because Brad didn't know yet, and I was going to make his discovery personal. Brad was on his 3rd lap of victory that afternoon, arms spread like some messianic tech bro, spinning tales of his federal proposal in the open office while interns nodded like underpaid cult members. He even had the gall to order celebratory cupcakes. Vanilla, because of course he's a man who thinks flavor is dangerous. He hadn't seen the agency's update yet. No one had, not until 3:00 p.m., but I had it bookmarked. I had my phone on silent, and I had a front row seat. I sat at my old desk, still technically assigned to me for another 12 hours, and pulled up the Department of Energy's portal at exactly 2:59:58. Refreshed, there it was. Award notice, Federal Clean Tech Grant Cycle B recipient, Emily Vance, independent project lead amount, $80 million, and beneath it, for added spice, a PDF of the submission metadata with my digital signature. My email, my timestamps. No Brad, no Melissa, no firm, just me. I screenshotted it, sent it to myself, backed it up to 3 drives, printed one and folded it neatly into my leather folio, and then I watched. 3:01 p.m. Brad opened his laptop mid-sentence while pitching our vision for scalable climate integration to a mid-level from finance. He stopped talking. He blinked, clicked again. His neck started turning red. Then came the spin, classic Brad. He laughed too loud. Oh wow, look at that. Must have listed her as a placeholder. There's no way she submitted that alone. I mean, this was a team effort. People started whispering. I heard someone ask, did she get locked out of the system last week? I stood up, walked over, held up the printed award notice like a wedding invitation to someone else's ex. Brad, I said calmly, you might want to email your mentor about crisis management, because I also sent this to legal. And to the press office, to our clients. Oh, and your email access? It's been notified. You logged in under my name at 2:37 a.m. That's breach of internal security protocol. You didn't just steal, you lied on a federal document. The color drained from his face so fast you'd think I hit a kill switch. But Melissa said, she said we were submitting, he stammered. I leaned in just close enough for him to smell the adrenaline radiating off me like perfume. Melissa doesn't make federal decisions. I do, or rather, I did. I straightened. Oh, and those cupcakes. I'd eat them fast if I were you. Might be the last free food you get in a corporate setting for a while. And then I walked. Past the frozen faces. Past Melissa's office, where she was already on the phone with someone higher up, who probably had a lot of questions about how an unqualified non-leader just made their entire department look like clowns on a federal stage. Down the stairs, out the lobby, into the street where the air felt 5 degrees lighter. I had burned the building without striking a match, and I wasn't even close to finished. It took 17 minutes for the firm's internal email to explode. Subject, urgent, clarification on clean tech proposal. Lead. Then came the chain reaction. Legal, compliance, PR, all trying to claw back control of a narrative that was already public. Could practically hear the spin cycle engage. We're proud of Emily's independent initiative. This was always a cross-functional effort. Let's stay focused on the future. Bullshit written in passive voice, soaked in fear. Meanwhile, my personal inbox was a war zone of a different kind. Journalists, former colleagues, even recruiters I hadn't spoken to since the Obama years were suddenly so impressed by my leadership. Someone from the governor's office wanted to schedule a call. Guy I went to grad school with, who once ghosted me after 2 dates, DM'd me, asking if I'd grab a celebratory drink sometime. I blocked him. And then I got the message I'd been waiting for, not from the firm, from the Department of Energy. The director himself, dry as toast, the kind of man who didn't waste syllables, sent a one-liner that made me sit down on my floor and laugh until I cried. Your firm just tried to retroactively claim credit. Informed them their name appears nowhere in the award paperwork. I replied, let me know if they attempt anything further. I have receipts and backups of those receipts. Also, I'm not affiliated with them as of 3:00 p.m. Then I attached a copy of my resignation letter. The funny part? Their desperation wasn't even the ugliest part. That came the next morning. Melissa showed up outside my apartment building at 8:17 a.m. in full makeup and a trench coat like she was auditioning for a political thriller no one asked for. I watched her through the peephole as she buzzed, waited, buzzed again. I let her wait, then finally cracked the door. She smiled like this was a casual brunch and not a groveling tour. Emily, I think things escalated too quickly yesterday. We'd like to talk options. We, or you, Melissa. Her lip twitched. The board wants to bring you in. Revisit the structure. Possibly renegotiate your role. Senior director is on the table. Maybe VP. It was all a misunderstanding, really. I leaned against the frame. You locked me out. I didn't authorize. You stripped my access, let Brad plagiarize, told clients I was in training, and tried to shove my work into someone else's hands. You wanted me out, so I left. With the win. Her face finally dropped the smile. Don't be emotional. This is business. Wrong word, wrong woman. Melissa, I said, voice sharp as ice, you're standing on my welcome mat asking for mercy from someone you tried to professionally erase. You don't get to rebrand that as a misunderstanding. Then I stepped back and let the door close between us. Not a slam, just the click of finality. Let them choke on their cupcakes. The contract was mine. Their bonus fund, gone. And by the time their Q4 reports dropped, I'd be building something new with my name in full font, no footnotes, and no Brad to screw it up. The next time I saw Brad, he wasn't in a boardroom. He was in a dive bar. It was a week later. I was meeting a friend for drinks, still wearing the same blazer I'd worn to a closed-door briefing at the Department of Energy. It still smelled faintly like power and printer ink. She was late. I walked in, ordered a whiskey, and there he was, sitting alone, hunched over a gin and tonic like it was a casket. His blazer was rumpled, his eyes bloodshot, and his LinkedIn status had mysteriously changed to open to work. He didn't see me at first, but when he did, his face shifted like he'd seen a ghost that brought the receipts. "Emily," he said, voice already slurred, "guess the universe wanted you to win." I took a sip of my drink. "No, Brad, the universe didn't do jack. I did." He chuckled bitterly. "Melissa's suspended. Legal's eating itself alive. I think someone from procurement's threatening to whistleblow." "Sounds like a productive Q4, I said. He stared into his glass. "You were never supposed to be a threat." I tilted my head. "Because I don't talk over people in meetings? Because I don't golf?" He shook his head. "Because you don't kiss ass. You don't flatter. You just show up and win." No one knew what to do with that. "That's the problem, Brad. We're too busy managing perception to notice the work happening behind your back." He looked at me with something bordering on sincerity. "So now what? You start your own shop, build a team of Emily clones, take down the rest of us." I smiled. "I don't need clones," I said. "I just need a chair at the table I build." He raised his glass like it was an apology. I didn't toast back. That same night, I got the call. Not from a recruiter, not from a think tank, from someone real. A woman named Kara, who ran one of the most respected clean energy accelerators in the country. She'd read the federal award. She'd seen the proposal. She asked 2 questions. "Did you do this alone? And do you want to do it again, but bigger?" By the time we finished talking, I had a temporary contract, a 6-figure signing bonus, and a blank canvas to hire whoever I wanted. And I knew exactly who I'd bring in. Not ladder climbers, not ass-kissers, not LinkedIn influencers who thought empathy was a brand strategy. No, I wanted the ghosts. The women who stayed late, made miracles, got passed over and forgotten, and still showed up the next day. The ones who were always too direct, not leadership material, or my personal favorite, hard to place culturally. I would place them. I would arm them. And I'd give them the one thing Melissa and Brad never could. A title that meant something. Not for ego. For proof, we signed the lease 2 months later. An old converted textile mill downtown, brick walls, iron beams, and the kind of bones you could build a revolution on. I walked through that empty space with a tape measure and a vision. No fake succulents, no slide-in-the-lobby startup gimmicks. Just wide desks, real light, and a door that closed when you needed to think without a man breathing down your neck. I named it Red Line Strategies, after all the lines they said I crossed, all the limits I shattered, and all the red they bled once I left. I didn't poach anyone. I didn't have to. They came to me, quietly, one by one. Sandra, who built the compliance frameworks Brad claimed as his own. Divina, the data scientist they benched because clients prefer someone friendlier. Teresa, the admin with a master's in mechanical engineering, who once restructured a logistics chain while being paid to refill toner, came burned out, pissed off, half believing they'd never be more than background noise. I turned them into the front line. We didn't host town halls. We hosted clinics. We didn't write mission statements. We wrote patents. And when the first quarterly came in, and our clean energy tool outperformed every incumbent by 19%, the same execs who once blocked my badge tried to invite me to executive leadership mixers. I RSVP'd with a fruit basket, rotten bananas only. But the sweetest part, the email I got from the firm's CFO. Formal, terse. One line, "Would you consider returning in a consulting capacity to advise on sustainability bids?" I forwarded it to my team with a subject line that read, "Comedy break." Brad, from what I heard, tried to pivot to real estate tech. Melissa quietly disappeared. Her LinkedIn now lists her as a wellness integration coach, which I'm pretty sure means she sells overpriced candles to women she once fired for having emotions. Meanwhile, we were asked to keynote at a summit. Not me, we, 3 of us stood on that stage, side by side, and presented our work. No one talked over us. No one circled back at our ideas into oblivion. We spoke. They listened. And then came the twist I didn't expect. After the event, as we were packing up, a young woman approached me, fresh out of grad school, eyes sharp, voice shaky. She looked at me like I was a monument. I read what you did, she said. The proposal, the resignation, the fallout. You gave me permission. I smiled. No, you already had it. I just reminded you. Because in the end, this wasn't just about revenge. It was about building something they couldn't delete, and making damn sure the next woman never had to win the way I did, alone. 6 months to the day after I walked out of that firm with an $80 million contract stapled to my resignation letter, Redline made its first acquisition. A small but brilliant consultancy out of Austin, led by a woman who'd been systematically shut out of venture capital rounds for the crime of asking questions with data behind them. I didn't just offer her funding. I offered her firepower. The deal closed in 3 days. On the 4th, ex-investor emailed me a veiled threat about market saturation and the long game. I replied with a PDF of our new federal contract, twice the size of the last. No greeting, no sign-off, just the contract, and a single subject line. The game already ended. That week, we moved into the final phase of the project, national implementation. My name alone, was on the internal contract dashboards of 3 federal agencies, 4 state-level offices, and 1 international delegation. When they asked how I built the team so fast, I told them the truth. I hired the women you laid off, overlooked, and mocked behind closed doors. Turns out they weren't broken, just uninterrupted. The look on those bureaucrats' faces, like they'd swallowed a lemon dipped in truth serum. And then, because fate has a real sense of irony, I got invited to speak on a panel. Guess who the moderator was? Lisa, now rebranded as a resilience coach for women in leadership. She introduced me like we were old friends. Next, we have Emily Vance, visionary founder of Redline Strategies, and someone I had the pleasure of working with during her time in corporate. I took the mic, smiled wide, and said, "Pleasure's one word for it." The room laughed. Melissa did not. Afterward, she approached me, arms folded tight like she was holding in a scream. "You know," she hissed, "you didn't have to torch everything. We could have found you a place." I leaned in close, lowered my voice to the tone women use before they professionally eviscerate someone. "You had your chance to place me, Melissa. You chose erasure. I chose legacy. And that was the final time I saw her." As for Brad, word got around that he tried to start his own firm. It lasted 4 months. He blamed market volatility. I blamed karma. Now, every time I walk past that old office building, the one where they told me I'd never be management, I don't get angry. I just smile. Because upstairs, they're still chasing contracts they can't land. Still building decks off stolen work. Still mistaking title for talent. Meanwhile, I built a company out of the ashes of their arrogance. And every time a bonus fund dries up without me, I sleep a little better, knowing that the woman they tried to silence became the reason their bottom line fell silent too.
You're the real MVPs of the office jungle. Thanks for watching. Smash that subscribe button, or the coffee pot might just forget your next brew.